of your children.
When I feel it's necessary.
Well, that's the problem.
It's not the problem.
Because your unvaccinated children coming into our office create a risk for every other child there.
So we're just going to go hang out in front of your offices every day for the next, I don't know, until you guys make an appointment for them. That's what I'm going to do. That's my right. And I'll record it, and it'll be national news. You can't do that to me. Those are my children, okay? And I'm here.
You're trying to protect your children.
And I am. And thank you for implying that I'm not. If I didn't protect my children, I wouldn't be here speaking with you right now. Okay?
Well, how old is your oldest?
My oldest will be 5 in July.
And the vaccinations that child has received so far?
That's none of your business.
Well,
That's not your business. I'm not taking him to a doctor's office. This is me and you speaking about how my newborn was refused a doctor's office. And just so you know...
But it speaks to your intent about the child that you're complaining we won't see.
What do you mean it speaks to my intent? You don't know what vaccinations my 5-year-old has, so how can you say it speaks to the intent when you don't know? How can you say that? If you don't have no knowledge of what he's had or has not had, how can you say it speaks to the intent?
The fact that you won't tell me makes me believe that you have no intention of having your children vaccinated.
Didn't I just explain that Dr. Borgordy in New York with my oldest child came to the office with 5 vaccinations and said, your son needs these? And I said, well, look, I know that in all those vaccinations that mercury is a preservative. So if you can go back to your office and research for a minute and tell me that they're not mercury preservatives, then I'll give them all 5. She came back to the office and said, what 2 do you want? So are you not following the whole conversation?
You phased them.
Okay, but then you just said my intent was implied by what I said about...
Okay, and I'm sorry, I missed that. So
the problem is this is what I'm trying to tell you. Your policy is creating a situation of all or nothing. We didn't go in there saying we don't want our children immunized at all. We said we don't want my newborn having 6 at once. At which point in time they refused to see my child at any point further. They weren't going to do anything for him.
Okay. In that case, I need to follow up with the physician and see what the recommendation is for phasing them in, what the priority is, and then we can talk about whether you're willing to take the ones that are the highest priority at this point.
Yeah, but I'm probably not going to take any of them along with... I'm not going to take any 2 vaccinations that have mercury preservatives in them at once. I'm not overdosing my children. I'm not going to do it. And I've asked I've asked for your policy manual and your procedural manual and the birthing unit, which is a whole different thing, but I've been refused that. And I think parents need to know that your procedures for circumcision is to inject the penis with cane sugar and water.
I don't think that's the case.
Really? Because in 90% of the country, that's what they do.
Inject? I thought they put it on the tongue.
Either way, my newborn child is not going to have cane sugar in his body. With childhood diabetes is in my family. Do you guys even consider that?
Sir, I'm not a clinician. I don't know the policy for that.
Well, there you go. So I requested...
My own experience is what happened with my boys. So.
But I appreciate that you're going to be willing to speak to the physician over there. And the only thing that I can suggest that you do would be not condemn parents. Because I have a religious belief, and I'm going against those beliefs as it is, to get my kids immunized for their safety. Thank you for pointing out that I'm not caring for my kids. I appreciate that. But I'm already going against my religious beliefs and my personal beliefs. And essentially what your policy does is condemn people. So instead of, how do I say this? So instead of the doctor saying, okay, ma'am, I understand you don't want all 6, even though it's what I recommend, how many would you like and which ones would you like first? This is on the schedule. What can I give you first? That way, parents can come back and have another chance at the doctor educating them more. Okay? Because now you guys are, like I said, you guys have just refused all 4 of my children. My 4-year-old's going to school next year. This next school year. So he needs to be seen by a doctor to get the rest of his immunizations on his schedule for the next 3 or 4 months until he starts school. And I don't have that option. Y'all have taken that from me. Actually, you didn't take it from me. You took it from my kids. So you want to talk about caring about kids. Can we care about kids?
We do care about kids, but we care about all of the kids who come to our practices.
Okay, but
And so,
once again, my child's heart wasn't even listened to yesterday at a month and a half old. Nobody even cared enough to listen to his heart because he wasn't vaccinated. That kind of seems cruel and unusual to me. Because as I just explained, the normal, like we stray from the normal. Obviously, we didn't get any prenatal care from your hospital or doctor in this area, so therefore you think we have no prenatal care. My child hasn't been back to your hospital since, so it's been at least a month and a half with no doctor visits. You don't know the schedule, so I'll tell you, a week after your child, not even a week, I think it's like 5 days. It's either 5 days to a week. The doctor, wherever your child is born at, that doctor wants to see that child again. Okay, then within another week, they're to be brought back again. Okay, we haven't done that. So who's going to listen to my child's heart?
if you won't check your child at the doctor, who's going to listen?
We
to
just
them?
tried to check our doctor at the child at the doctor, and you guys refused to treat my child. So how do we do that now?
Well, the emergency department is always an option.
So we're supposed to take our unimmunized children to an emergency room and put our children at risk of whatever contagious diseases are floating around there, instead of taking them to a doctor's office to have them. You think emergency rooms do immunizations?
No, but they'll listen to his heart if that's what you're concerned about.
Well, I'm concerned about a number of things. I just told you them. The shape of his head, the circumcision, his growth and development, all those things. Circumcision he needs a referral for. So how do I get him circumcised? If your doctors won't even give my son the time of day, how does he get circumcised?
I don't know. But, like I said, I will check with the physician and see if there is a way to phase in the immunizations so that it will satisfy our policy, but your concerns.
Or maybe y'all should change the policy. Kind of like the one where if you don't get prenatal treatment, it might even be worded exactly, I'm not sure because y'all wouldn't hand it over, but the ones where if the parent didn't get prenatal, you must treat them like a drug addict. By the way, the test results were negative for that. Just to let you know, we don't do drugs or alcohol. So
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm very glad to hear that you have no care in the world for children. What information do you need? To look like you're ready.
I just need a phone number so that we can get back with you.
607 205 98.
843?
Yep, no, it's 607.
Okay.
It's a New York number.
607-205-9854.
9854. And just so you know, now that we're speaking in person, to remind you about what happened, my wife didn't get prenatal care with any of our children, okay? And we came in here, and before the child was born, the water broke, and there was a lot of poop in it, fecal matter, which is normal. And the nurse made it sound like this big deal. Okay, we're gonna have to take the child and put him in the nursery, and we're gonna have to take blood, and we're gonna have to give him this immunization. And I looked at her across the bed and said, "Oh, you have to?" And I know you talking to me, you know I did that. I said, "Oh, I have to?" And she looked at me and said, "Well, we recommend." I said, "Okay, then how about no? You're not doing any of that." "Well, we wouldn't recommend that with all the fecal matter." But so that was the first lie they told us to get the child out of mom's care. Then here comes the second lie. They said they had to collect poop. They had to collect poop for a drug test. Okay, my wife was in the nursery for 6 hours, and the baby pooped probably. I'm trying to remember off the records. I want to say like 5 or 6 times. Now, LabCorp, according to their lab technician that I spoke to, they only need a gram, which is about a teaspoon. Okay? He pooped way more than a gram when he pooped 7 times. He actually pooped from 6 o'clock when she was kicked out until she got him back. He pooped an additional 5 times. The first time he pooped, the nurse told my wife it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. The second time, it wasn't enough. The third time, it wasn't enough. The fourth time, she was out of the nursery. So does in your policy it state that you must hold that child and watch them for drug withdrawals? Because he wasn't held there for poop. I know that for a fact. They had enough poop. His first poop, I've had 4 babies. Is that why you guys won't give me your policy manual?
We don't give anyone our policy manual.
So then so I'm just supposed to sign a consent blanket form that you guys are going to do this during my child's birth and have no concern in the world. So if it's your policy to put goop in their eyes for STDs, I don't have a right to decline that. If it's your policy to vaccinate them for Hep B as soon as they're born, it's not my right to know that. If it's part of your procedures, I as a parent should know that before my son is born in this hospital. That way I can tell the nursing staff and the doctor, hey, I don't want the goopy stuff in his eyes. I don't want his blood taken right away. I don't want the Hep B vaccination right away. I don't want you guys to do anything to him besides clean him and bring him to me. Because he was taken from her within 20 minutes, and I watched the lady stick him twice in the room after I told them no, that they can't do it. So your policy manual is private?
It's proprietary, yes.
So then how do parents make informed decisions?
They have conversations with their physicians, but apparently you didn't do that.
Who lie? I didn't have a physician, first of all. We came in here because we didn't get prenatal care in the closest hospital. That's our choice. We could have had the baby in the bathtub if we wanted to. Have him in the backseat of the van if we wanted to. We've had 4 children. Nobody's going to tell me what I do with my children. The nurse lied to me in the birthing room and told me that he had to have this vaccination. So what would speaking to these physicians do for me when they're lying?
Mr. Evans, I need to talk to the pediatrician and see
Great.
what we can do about the
Great.
current
Now I'm going to sit out in the office and wait for Mr. Argo. Thank you.
You might want to take water.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And you don't know when Mr. Argo will be back? Think it'll be a long time, or do you think?
I don't know. I'm not sure what anybody's schedule is today.
Okay. Well, if anybody can page him or call him and tell him I'm here, that'd be great.